Good day everyone, Trainer Maxim with you. Thank you very much for joining me for this episode. Today we're going to discuss the matter of mobility over stability. Before we start, I want to thank everyone who supports my channel. Thank you so much. All the comments, suggestions, super thanks, and of course my support angels. Really, thank you everyone. There are a lot of conversations about what should we do with our body. Should we promote stability or should we strive to be as mobile as possible? And there are a couple of schools of thought on this matter. One school promotes absolute mobility, those animals flows or absolute dancing moves. They would encourage you to move in any way you feel comfortable, in any way the body wants to move. Just let it move, pain-free of course, but just move. Improve the mobility, improve the flexibility, and let the body move. I like this approach a lot, nothing wrong with this approach. However, there are pros and cons, of course, as everywhere. With this approach, when we perform so-called animal flows exercises or dancing or anything of the kind, there are no really standards how the body should move. And by standards, I mean that there are no definitions of that animal flow or another animal flow or that dance move. It just needs to please your eye or the eye of your audience. But the standards are not really there. Those activities are not defined in terms of how the joints must be placed, how the joints must interact with one another. And as we know, the joints have so many opportunities to be placed in such awkward ways that it might be detrimental for the structure of the joint, and we might be inadvertently damaging the structure of the joints by letting them just be, without any standards. And at some point, yeah, that's great. When you're flexible and mobile, that's great, and you let the body move. That feels fantastic, but at some point, you might place the body in an awkward way and something snaps and we might get hurt, because not all the positions of the joints are beneficial for the joints. For one simple reason, sometimes you place one joint in that position and there are a lot of other forces affecting the joints, outside forces like gravity, centripetal force, or any impact from outside. And the joint is not in a strong position, not in the position that can deal with this stress, and it might get hurt. So there are pros and cons for that approach. There is another school of thought which would promote absolute stability. Let's say powerlifting. When you lift, they would encourage you to keep the spine rigid, keep the core engaged, even hold your breath during the lifting stage, especially with the deadlifts or the squats. Be as rigid as possible, like strongman competition. All those activities, they promote rigidity of the body so that the body can be like a crane and lift the weights. That's a fantastic approach as well. I like that too. But again, there are pros and cons with this approach. Yes, there are a lot of standards of the movements, how the spine should be placed, how the shoulders should be placed, how the wrist should interact with the weights, and etc. But that makes it impossible to live in that mode. If you just exit the powerlifting competition and start living on your own, start going to the grocery store with this approach, now you start thinking every time you take a step, where is my spine, where are my shoulders, how I move the elbows, how I move the forearms. That's a lot of thinking. As a result, you might look robotic. And you might have noticed in the gym some guys with big muscles who are doing, or girls to this matter, who are doing heavy lifting. They train the central nervous system to monitor the body to the point of making the body very rigid, and they get in the habit of staying rigid at all time, no matter whether they're at the gym or outside. And it looks a little bit robotic when they walk, when they run, when they move. Kind of good in terms of the injury prevention often. Of course, still injuries can happen, but maybe at lesser extent or even greater extent, you never know, because now you're overloading the body with heavy weights. But it's definitely suppressing your body from moving with ease during the everyday activity. And it's not something we want to do. So those two schools which are kind of fighting, or not fighting, but trying to choose and convince people to be either overly mobile and flexible or stable. Mobility over stability. In my opinion, I think that we should be neither of those. Well, it's not even a question of either or, should not be. I like another expression said by a very famous martial artist. You might know the guy. His name is Bruce Lee. He influenced my childhood a lot, and I considered him to be superhuman. The things he could do, all the fights I saw him, Island of Dragon movie back in the 80s. So yeah, I still remember those movies. They were fascinated, and he once said, "Be water." And a lot of times we interpret it as be flexible, be mobile. Be mobile and strong as water, because water is a very strong matter. And he is absolutely right. The water can eat stones, like Niagara Falls. The water keeps eating stones. Yes, the water is a very powerful element on Earth. A lot of time, again, we interpret it as the message as being flexible and mobile and therefore strong. However, I see that expression in a slightly different angle. We know from physics that the water is a very unique element on Earth. The water, and the uniqueness of the water, is that the water can easily change its aggregate states from liquid to solid to gas when the circumstances are right. So the water possesses a very unique quality of adapting to the environment. If the environment is too cold, the water freezes. It becomes very solid, and as a solid object, it can carry a lot of weight on it. That's why in Canada we can play hockey on the ice during the winter time. When the circumstances are more favorable for the water becomes liquid, and you can have fun in it. It's still strong, but it's kind of liquid state. It's very mobile, it's very flexible. And when the temperature rises yet again, the water becomes a gas. It takes the gaseous state. And at any point of time, if the circumstances demand, the water can easily switch from gas to liquid to solid, from solid to gas, and etc. It can switch its states almost at a whim if the circumstances are right. And that's what I really like about this expression: be water, be really water, but in terms of being able to switch from being flexible and mobile to being strong and solid and stable, and to being very fast and still mobile and still flexible. Let's say if the circumstances demand and you're having fun, you're at the party, then be just water, be liquid, be in a liquid state, be flexible, move well. If you're lifting, if you're at the gym, be stable, engage your core, tighten up the spine, tighten up the shoulders so that you can lift. And when you are in danger or you're fighting your opponent, be gas, be volatile, move with grace, move fast, and still be strong, and toggle back and forth from those states when the circumstances are right. So to this matter, I think we don't need to choose either to be flexible or mobile or stable. We just need all of it. We want to be able in flexible and mobile and stable and strong and powerful and all those qualities of very good functionality, body functionality, very good fitness. And when the circumstances demand, we need to be able quickly switch from being strong to being flexible and mobile and to being fast when the circumstances demand. And that's what I think we need to strive for, train for. We need to train speed and flexibility and mobility and strength and control and all those states. And also we need to perform the exercises which would demand your body at some point to be strong and stable, but at the very next point, at the very next period of time, to be very mobile and flexible. Let's say there are sport activities such as powerlifting. They demand you only to be as stable as possible at any point of time. Oh, of course, because when you lift the weight is heavy. You need to focus on the stability in order not to hurt your spine or hips, etc. But at no point that sport would require you to become flexible and mobile and fast. Unless we're talking about the other sport, Olympic weightlifting, then yes, at some point you need to switch to the Olympic jerks. Other sports like dancing, they would demand at all time only mobility and flexibility and some speed. But some sports like gymnastics and calisthenics, they would demand 3 states at different periods of the same performance. Let's say in gymnastics, when you're on the rings, you go up and it requires some stability of the spine, stability of the shoulders. When you start performing the combinations of the rings, you need to become water to be more flexible, more mobile, so that you can do some somersaults or handstands on the rings. And when you dismount of the rings, you need to become gas. You need to move very fast, be very agile, and still stay flexible and strong. And when you mount, when you land, at the moment of landing, you yet again need to make the body very rigid, very strong, so that you can stick the dismount. So I think we need to follow the same pattern with our fitness routine. We need to find something, some activities, some exercises or compound exercises which would promote those three states at the same time. Say you start with the mobility, flexibility portion of the movement, switch into the, let's say, handstands, where it requires stability, and after you dismount, light jumps on the floor when it demands to be gas, to be in a different state of the body, when you can move rapidly under control but still stay flexible and mobile, and on the landing you're becoming again a solid matter. So that would be the ideal approach for training. We need to find a very fine balance between those three states. And at no point, I think, we need to choose whether to be flexible or mobile only, or to be rigid all the time and stable. We need all of this. So this is my message for today, guys. I think you got the idea. We want everything we possibly can get, and we need the ability to switch between those states at our will, at any point of time. That would be awesome. Okay, thank you very much for your attention, guys. Thank you. Join me for the next podcast next week. Trainer Maxim with you. Go enjoy your day. Thank you. Bye-bye.